All right, let's kick things off with the oil markets, shall we? As far as oil trades are concerned, we're looking at West Texas Intermediate that's down by 38 basis points. So is Brent crude, 89.97, a smidgen under $90. Exchange rates, the dollar maintaining, actually getting a bit weak against the euro, pound, and the yen. Let's look at cryptocurrency prices, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin up by 194 basis points. Ethereum is up 76. What else is going on? So much data today. Equities on the European side opening in bullish territory. We'll see how they finish up to close out the trading day for the week, for Friday. And we've also got the Shanghai Composite Index, S&P ASX 200 in Australia, because Hong Kong is closed today for other worries. Nikkei 225 Kospi, they're all down. Apple, oh, look at that. $200 billion lost over the last couple of days, dragging the NASDAQ down for the last 4 days. The NASDAQ closing yesterday down about 89 basis points because of some things going on in China with respect to not being allowed to use the phones. There they are, as far as state-owned enterprises are concerned. And we're looking at some headwinds there that will be facing Apple and its product sales in the near future. What else? There's so much going on today. Huawei, of course, they've launched a new phone, market share dropping since those US sanctions, but it looks like they've been able to bypass the sanctions. We're going to be talking about that. And also their new phone, the Mate 60 Pro. Could it be a threat to Apple going forward? The Apple iPhone 15 is coming out next week. Traffic to ChatGPT, the website, it is falling, as you can see on the screen there. We're going to look at why that is, whether or not the gloss is fading, or the shine is fading on ChatGPT. Also, Zoom video communications has engaged with regulators from the US, European Union, other jurisdictions to discuss concerns regarding potentially anti-competitive actions by Microsoft. An individual with knowledge of the situation claims that the manufacturer of communication software has spoken with the US Federal Trade Commission as well as competition authorities from the EU, UK, and Germany during the past year. The source, who has to remain anonymous because the conversations were private, claimed that Zoom highlighted worries about the way Microsoft favors its Teams video conferencing software through price bundling and product design. All right, robots flying planes. The PIBOT, Advanced Humanoid Pilot Robot, was created by South Korean researchers. Using artificial intelligence technology, PIBOT can comprehend flight manuals and manage the entire flight procedure. According to the research team, which is headed by David Hyun-chul Shim, a professor of electrical engineering at KAIST, PIBOT is the first humanoid pilot in the world to use large language model, LLM technology, which enables the robot to understand the human pilot manuals written in everyday language.
PIBOT is a human-sized robot that can control an airplane based on the contents of the human language manual and manipulate various switches, levers, and yokes on the cockpit, and then control or manage the entire functionality of an airplane, just like a human pilot. Here I'm holding a mock-up of an autopilot. As you can see, it can only control the speed and altitude or bearings, but our pilot robot, PIBOT, can manage everything in the airplane, including turning on and off the engines and fly the airplane, take off, cruise, land, everything. Human pilot is great in understanding the context and then handle the complex situation, but they often fail to remember very detail of those flight manual, especially when they are in trouble.
Okay, we're coming back. We're here. Mayowa Apaflo, Senior Associate with Financial Derivatives Company Limited. She's with us right now. Mayowa, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. I got plenty of questions for you. Now, starting with Apple, what do you make of the drop in the market value over the last couple of days and everything else that's going on?
Well, market reacts to information. Yeah. Information affects the markets, and then we've seen the policy from China. We're hearing about Huawei's new Mate 60 Pro phone. All of these are feeding into what we're seeing with Apple. And we've even seen reports from Bloomberg saying that Apple, in the short term, we'll see Apple stock prices fall as much as 10%. Over 2 days, we're already seeing the impact. Market cap and the market cap share prices driving the stock markets down. we're seeing that impact. Aside that, when we now also look at the Mate 60 Pro, competing with Apple in China, China is Apple's largest market, right? And so when we have this, it's possible that we see a decline in their iPhone shipment by about maybe 10 million, which will represent about 4.5% of their total iPhone shipments globally. And so this will continue to see the impact, at least in the short term. But in the long term, right? Yeah. It's still a bit uncertain to say what would happen. It would largely depend on, one, Apple's response to this. It's possible that Apple comes up with new products, new features to appeal to their consumers. Also, it also depends on China, the Chinese government in itself. It's possible they reverse that policy, right? They may have dialogue with Apple and reverse that policy. We never can tell. And there's could also be the impact of other countries, right? One of the reasons we're not certain of the reason, but one of the reasons likely reasons for this Chinese government's policy could be because of security concerns, right? Earlier in the year, we saw Russia do something similar, and so they probably took a leaf from this. And the US has been accused over time of spying on other countries using these global tech companies that control the global part of the internet, right? And so we saw a report from Al Jazeera earlier in the year or so speaking about this. And so it's possible that the Chinese government is trying to protect its own communications infrastructure by coming up with this policy, because the state-owned enterprises, they're probably trying to protect themselves. And US has done similar. They banned TikTok in the US. So it could be as a result of this and then the impact we're seeing on Apple.
Back and forth. What do you make of the Zoom and their complaints to regulators on Microsoft?
Well,
anti-competition.
Anti-competition. It's not new. We've seen Facebook being accused of different companies. So it's a bit uncertain, right? But I think one thing is for sure, I think that the regulators would actually pay attention to the complaints that they have raised. We're not sure of the outcome because Microsoft has come out and they've claimed that Zoom's complaints are baseless, right? They've also come up with their own points to counter Zoom, saying that they have created, there's an equal opportunity for all parties to play in the market, right? But if Microsoft is actually found guilty of these anti-competitive practices, they might be forced to stop these bundling practices, and they will be forced to create. Then it will help create a more a level playing ground for not only Zoom but other video conferencing providers. And if Microsoft is also found guilty, regulators will be paying more attention to their business practices, and they could possibly face fines and sanctions in the short term.
ChatGPT, we saw some data from SimilarWeb showing that traffic, I don't know if you visited the site and if you've used it, but what do you think of the decline? Is the hype fading? Why do you think the website visits are going down?
Well, with technology, hype sometimes declines over time, right? Yeah. But Zoom, also looking at the months that we have seen the declines, we're seeing it more in June, July, summer months. Schools are out of season. People are partying, right? And so we saw that the decline, we saw a reduction in the decline in August. US schools resumed in August. And so maybe one thing we can pick and see out of this is that major users of the platform are students, right? And so maybe in the coming months, we hope to see increased usage. But also, we're in the last 1 year, we've seen increased competition. Google has released Bard, and Bard is really good. Bard is bad, So increased competition could also be the reason for the decline that we've been seeing.
Do you worry? Look, when I'll show my own age. When I didn't have all this when I went to school, I had to read and do my thing. And you make a good point about schools reopening, so these students are seeking help from these AI. Do you worry about the development of students with these AI software and how it might impact or reduce their ability to learn, without it, basically?
Well, yes, but also we're also seeing other tools coming out. You know how we have Turnitin, for instance, to check plagiarism. We're also seeing tools that will check if you use AI to do your assignment. So we will probably see schools also putting that tool into their submission portals to check how many of these things and how many of the students have used AI to carry out their assignments. And for now, even using AI, you still, if you want very good results, you still have to apply your own thinking to it. If you just put a generic question to it, it's going to give you a generic response. So there's still a bit of work to do. But then again, yes, there's still that fear that it could affect the output of students, their thinking ability. Or the last time I was here, we spoke about script writers. One of the things they were fighting was protection with AI, because they're worried that the movie producers would use AI to write their scripts. And so they want protection for themselves. So AI is
excellent
a threat
point
to different parts of.
And that strike is still on till today, since the last time we spoke. Mayowa, in 30 seconds, would you fly on a plane that was controlled by robots? What do you make of PIBOT or PIBOT?
No, I will
You would not, eh?
My risk tolerance is low. I'm afraid of the airplane being hijacked by hackers or hijacked by hackers or something. I don't want trouble. I'm in Nigeria, but it's a very great innovation. When you actually look at it, there are areas where it's not safe for humans to fly airplanes, remote areas, war-torn areas, where they need to probably provide supplies. When you have a humanoid robot flying, it makes it easier to reach all these areas. So there's actually a benefit to it. But for me,
you're not doing it. In fact, I just thought of something, and I shouldn't bring up war, but you can save on human casualties if you actually use robots to fly these warplanes. And so, so maybe the future of war and battle would be taken over by robots. Mayowa Apaflo, senior research associate, senior associate with Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.